Welcome to another episode of the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing. This week, Sheldon Cunningham, the Assistant Secretary of Health and Social Services, and Godwin Adams, the Secretary of Agriculture, Marine Affairs, Marketing and the Environment, addressed the media.
First on the agenda, we have what the division on Thursday will celebrate what you call Emancifest. Emancifest is a program where we are trying to acknowledge the Emancipation Day, actually, and we're going to be showcasing this on Thursday, the 30th of July, from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Administration Building, Glen Road, Tobago. That's where the Division of Health and Social Services. This is really to form and build the camaraderie among workers and then to showcase persons coming in their African outfit on that day. And also, each unit will have the opportunity where they could create what we call a breakfast within their division, and also a healthy breakfast that we can show the community of Tobago what healthy eating is all about. And then we talk about the Roving Caregivers program, which is one of the programs where we look at train caregivers in terms of dealing with children who have disability but unable to attend school. So what we do, we have trained these caregivers that they could go home into these homes and take care of these young ones under the age of 16. And also we're looking at starting that program and going and have registration done. So you can call through the division, through the community social workers. You call 639-4646 and they'll put you on to the community social work unit, in which they're going to take the registration, and we're going to get those issues of those disabled children who weren't able to go to school. Also, we have the probation hostel summer camp program, a program in which we deal with residents of the hostel for a 1-week program starting from Monday to Friday of next week. That's the 6th, actually. The 3rd, actually, sorry. Sunday is the 2nd, the 3rd is the Monday, in which we are looking for those inmates along with other children beyond control within the division, which is Train and Family Service, and also the probation unit, where we're going to have, in terms of looking at the issues, the social issue, the behavior of young offenders, and how we're going to deal with all those issues. So we're going to do a 1-week camp in order to focus on just those persons. So it's an in-house program. We also have the alcohol and drug abuse prevention program also will be having their summer camp. And that has been a program that going for the past 2 years. We are now revisiting it. We haven't put a date to it, but it should be within the month of August. With the new administrator that is on board, we had to now go through and finalize everything. So as soon as this information becomes available, I'll be sure and pleased to get back to you on it. And then we also want to do the program where we're going out in the community for the PAM, which is the program for adolescent mothers, where we deal with young teenagers who, for some reason, got pregnant, and we are trying to keep them from having a second pregnancy. So we're going to be going out into the community where we're going to target various areas of Tobago and have those young persons enroll in that program where we try to prevent the second pregnancy. So that it will be starting from the 6th of August, where they'll be going into the communities and dealing with issues like that. Because we have had issue with a lot of young persons because of getting pregnant. We feel that's the end of their world. So we're trying to do like simple CXC, maths, English, and so forth to get them back on a footing so they could be useful citizens in the island of Tobago. And of course, we still have the challenge with our aging program in terms of the caregivers, and there have been issues where persons talking about gratuity unpaid to them. We also are working on those issues to have it. It has been long overdue, but we are trying our best to bring it up to speed. And then we know a lot of persons have been asking for caregivers, which we cannot provide at this time. So we are now looking at reviewing the whole program, see how best they can fit, and looking at even the funding that is available, that we can even take on more caregivers. But it all depends on funding and how we care for elderly. It is my passion and I always make mention of it, where our senior citizen and our children are concerned. It's my passion to see those things eradicated and the issues that we are having with them taken care of. And then we're looking at, I remember a question coming from the media in terms of our senior citizen home in Tobago. That I have been pulling information to see how best we could treat with our senior citizen home here in Tobago and where the responsibilities lie and the supervision of those homes lie also. So that is something I'm also looking at. I'm hoping within the shortest term or the shortest period, these can be addressed. So we are clear in terms of when issues happen within the home, we know exactly where we can report them and how we can deal with them. Along with the children homes, that we know that the Children Authority has the authority over homes, and Dr. Derek Forrester is the person who is now on that board representing Tobago and those children home in dealing with the issues of children home. The 3 homes we have in Tobago are the Silfield Home in Love, the Family First Foundation, and the Probation Hostel.
The Scarborough Market renovation project went through the necessary procurement process, and EIDCAT was selected as the project managers in the process to conduct the structural assessment of the facility and to prepare a design brief for the end user. The preliminary drawings for the new renovation at the market is also going to be instructed by the design brief that EIDCAT is now preparing. The accommodation for the relocation of the market vendors at Shaw Park, the proposed site, that area will be split into 2 categories. We have tents and containerized facility. The tent is for the sale. The tents are going to be for the sales of food crops. Containerized units for the sales of meat and fish. The containerized units for toilet, bathrooms, administrative staffs, and other accommodations are also under construction. However, the containerized units are currently being outfitted and are about 80% complete. The preparation of the temporary site will be finished within the next month and a half, so as to prepare for the relocation to the Shaw Park site in January. Now, January was approved by the vendors, and we took into consideration what the plight of the vendors were. And the vendors would have asked us to give them an opportunity to have their Christmas sales. So with that in mind, we would have decided that we will commence the relocation in January of 2016. I want to make it expressly clear that vendors should prepare themselves from now for the relocation to the Shaw Park site. That time will give them enough leeway so that they can put things in place to effect the relocation, the relocation to that site. We want to ensure that everything will go smoothly. So, hence my reason for ensuring that they are aware. I must say also that we would have kept almost about 6 stakeholders meetings with the vendors. We would have had 2 large ones where the IS secretary and the administrator was deeply involved, and there were 4 other stakeholders meetings that the technical staff of the division would have been at. So those meetings that were kept by the technical staff, the vendors did express some concerns. There was one major concern. That concern is that they want to ensure that when they move to Shore Park, that all illegal vending around Scarborough stops. And we would have since commissioned a committee to seriously look into the idea of moving the illegal vending out of Scarborough. We had the police on hand, the land management, infrastructure, and public utilities. We had health and social services and the Division of Agriculture, Marine Affairs, Marketing, and the Environment. One thing that stood out at the meeting is that there is supposed to be the establishment of what is considered the 1.5-mile radius from the market center. So with that, that would have been established, and all the legalities in that process sorted out so that when the police and other parties do make the move to effect that movement of the illegal vending, that no screws will be left unturned. Because there is always the movement of the vendor's return, and this time around, we would have brought everyone, all the major authorities, into the mix, brought them into the mix so that when this is effected, we are going to be rest assured that we will not have those vending returning to the town center. So there is a phenomenon that is plaguing us in Tobago and throughout the Caribbean. It is primarily on the Atlantic side of the island, which is the sargassum seaweed. And the Division of Agriculture would have taken steps to challenge the cleanup and the movement of the seaweeds. However, I am sure that you would have observed that it keeps coming back. The last set of cleaning we'd have effected, well, we thought that was going to be the end of the line. But over the weekend, it kept coming back, and tremendous deposits on the beaches. So with that in mind, we still have to operate. And we will do things in a structured way to see how best we can have all stakeholders involved in the Tobago economy less affected by the sargassum seaweed. So what we are going to do, we are going to challenge the beaches that are frequently used by bathers, sea bathers, and those areas that the fisher folk is affected. And the restaurants, such as Gemma's restaurant at Speyside, we will ensure that at least we get some of the weeds taken away from those locations. But there is also that task of moving it to an area for storage. However, we would have come up with the storage at Louisville, Goldsboro, and Cortland. We will tackle those beaches on a needs basis then, because as we would have done before, we would have taken all the stuff, the material of the beach, and like a swarm of bees, it just keep coming back, right? But we will managing it as best as possible. Because we need to at least bring back the aesthetics of the area, and to ensure that the smell is eliminated to some level. You also realize when you're on the highway, you getting the smell coming at you, and we know that it's irritating, right? And we are going to take the necessary steps to handle that. There are some areas that I must make mention: John Dial, Scarborough, that is Nichols Bay, Pembroke, Speyside, which is around Gemma's Restaurant, to Luciville, and Petitio Bay, which is at Lambeau. So immediate restoration works will be effected in those areas. Let me just talk to our inaugural, our Tobago fishing tournament. Okay. Now, the inaugural fishing tournament, Tobago Commercial Fishing Tournament, was held on the 23rd and 24th of June 2004. That was our first stint at it. Over the years, it has been run very well, very good. We had increase in participation, and coming out of this year's 2015 presentation, we would have changed the way in which we would do the tournament. We stretched it out for a little longer time period, and what was entailed in that longer period is that our officers will ensure that we examine our fisher folk boats so that the necessary important things that they should be involved in when they are going to be going out to ply their trade out in the sea. Areas such as utilizing the safety equipment, such as GPS and life vests, food and water, together with a VHF radio and other equipments that they will have on board for their safety and security. So when they come, when they leave shore and they get back, all of these areas would have been examined to see which of the fisher folk are adhering to those safety laws. We also check on the cleanliness of the boat, both inside and outside, internally and externally, as we'll say. And keeping a clean and a concise administrative record of fish catch. Now, you know, fisher folk will go out and they will catch their fish and they want to get their fish sold. But it is important they keep records because they will know where they are, how their profits are realized, and whether they're going at a loss or they're gaining. So that our staff ensures that that aspect of the commercial fishing is taken care of. The adherence to health and safety standards is also a factor that we want to have embedded in the minds and in the daily operations of our fisher folk. So we ensure that is done. Now that you operate that type of we operate that era for a longer period because we want to know how the fishermen are sustaining these guidelines. The 2 days of intense fishing, which comes to the end of that tournament, which was held on the 16th and 17th of June 2015, we had 31 boats and 66 fisher folk participating in the competition. That aspect of it. And that two-day competition would have yielded some 2,474 pounds of various species of fish, such as the grouper and kingfish and the tuna, just to name a few. The tournament, we expect that it will continue, and I want to thank the staff because of the task that that task was an Herculean task to really put all of these fisher folk together to ensure that the competition was transparent and the winner was deservedly the winner. So we would have conducted the tournament, and there were prizes to be handed over to these people, and there would be a prize given and awards function for this tournament on Thursday, the 6th of August, 2015, at the Goodwood High School, starting 6 p.m. sharp. The main prizes for the first to third places are as follows. The first place is a Mazda BT50, valued at a cost of $250,000. We have the second place, which is a 27-feet pirogue, together with a 55 horsepower OB engine, valued at $81,000. The third place is a 24-feet pirogue and a 55 horsepower OB engine, valued at $71,000. That is both the boat and engine together. That's the cost. I believe strongly that the fishermen are excited for the awards and for the awards and prize giving function, and the division is looking forward for rewarding and recognizing our fishermen, and we are hoping that we have a bigger and better competition come next year. I do believe with the kind of the enthusiasm that the fisher folk has, and the way how they value the trade of fishing, to the extent that that trade do take care of their families, their homes in a decent manner. So I want to once again thank the fisher folk for participating, and hats off to all of them for their involvement in this year's tournament.
You mentioned that Louisdore, Goldsboro, and Courland would be used for the storage of the sargassum, correct?
Yes.
Does the Tobago House of Assembly or your division have any plans in place for the use of this seaweed?
And I am happy that you did make mention of that, because we want to work with communities throughout the east and southeastern areas of the island to utilize the weeds when they are dried out, because it is very salty, and it can affect plants at the moment. So there has to be a process, and I am asking that the public should work in tandem with the division in using the sargassum.
I just wanted to get from you if you have heard any information from the hostel, how the young persons are treated.
The probation hostel was set up in a way to deal with what you call like a group home. In that, the group home was like just as your own home setting. So the real issue was to take these young persons, instead of sending them to the St. Jules Home for Girls or YTC in Trinidad, is that we kind of group them here and kind of see how we could change behavior and set them back into the home. So just as in the home, they'll be doing the very same thing. I tell people when this home was first, the policies were set up, I was working at probation in 1997. And these are things that we have set aside and put together to ensure that it is structured for Tobago's people and their children, to ensure that they don't send, because when you go to YTC, it's people perception was like it was an interim to jail. So we took all that into consideration and said, listen, we're going to create somewhere here in Tobago that we could deal with it. It really was to have something like a house mother and a house father just as your own home. And then they'll understand. So when they go back into the home setting, they'll continue and understand how you function. The issue is that many times as the division tries best to provide the basic needs for these children, the workers and management have a responsibility also. And I think that is some of the way that we see things was lacking. As we speak on Monday, both the secretary administrator and myself visited there. I often visit that place, and I often go unannounced. And then we have issues in terms of our own security system. Because if you all will recall, some of your own media colleagues were able to go straight onto the compound without even a further check of balances going on. And people have to understand how sensitive. These are at-risk young people that we are dealing with. And when we allow and do things like that, we put those children further at risk. And I hear people saying that the division is further abusing them. But let us take a look that as media personnel, you all have a responsibility also that we don't further abuse them. As much as we could try to put them in that area and try to put that covering umbrella over them and protect them, we also have responsibility to take care of our young people.
Thank you for staying with us for the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing for the week ending July 31st, 2015.